Hi everyone, my name is Juliana Flores and I will be presenting the student experience at the Instructional Center, also known as the IC. The IC aims to help first-generation, low-income and/or minority students. They offer a variety of tutoring services including math, writing, chem, physics, biology, and more. The purpose of my research is to look into the student user experience within the IC with the hope to find how the experience can be enhanced. My goal during this project was to investigate the current experience of the students and with my findings be able to recommend how the IC could improve to further enhance the student's experience. As a former user of the space, it was important for me to understand what the primary motivation was for students to use the IC over any other tutoring center. Through the course of my project, I narrowed my questions to be, why do students go to the IC, and what makes the IC successful? During my research, I completed field observations, interviews, and surveys that focus on students who use the IC's General Math Study Room. I kept in mind who, what, where, and why, when, and how as I completed all of these methods in my research. Throughout my research, I came to discover that there were 5 key factors for why students came to the IC. Their experiences are influenced by these factors of community, tutors, diversity, time, and space. The image on this slide is that of a funnel because I discovered that these 5 factors go hand in hand in the experience the students have at the IC. For the remainder of my presentation, I will go into further detail for three of the 5 factors. The first factor I will discuss is community. The bulleted text are examples taken from my field observation work. They highlight the community that is apparent within the IC study space. These examples are of students engaging with one another and trying to helping each other out as they work on their homework. To validate the sense of community within the IC, I completed a survey in which one question focused on the qualities of community. After analyzing the results, I discovered that 60% of the participants strongly agreed that they feel supported when they ask for help, and 100% of the people who completed my survey agree that they have peers who they feel comfortable with. With that being said, my recommendation for the IC in regards to community is to keep making students feel supported as they utilize this space. My second theme is that of tutors. The text provided are examples taken from my interviews. Participant 1 had a lot of positive things to say about their experience using the IC. This one in particular talks about their preference of the IC because the tutors get to know you more. On the other hand, participant 2 and 3 had a little bit more of mixed reviews on their experience at the IC, especially with tutors. Something that both participants shared was that the teaching methods are not efficient for them. When validating the tutoring qualities found at the IC, I discovered that 80% of students who completed my survey agreed that tutors are mindful of their learning style. 70% agreed that tutors care about their academic success, and 90% agreed that tutors are welcoming. Although these are very positive numbers, something I kept in mind when considering tutors was what participant 2 mentioned, which was that some tutors are really rude and have often discouraged them. With that being said, I recommend for tutors to be more careful on how they talk to students and be more mindful of learning styles and how they are teaching. If this is meant to be an academic space that welcomes people, it is vital for tutors to keep that in mind. On the other hand, or on a more positive note, tutors are doing a great job at welcoming students, and it is possibly one of the key factors within tutoring that keep bringing students back. My final theme is that of space. Once again, the text provided here are examples taken directly from my interviews. My participants had common negative comments that talked about the space within the IC, in particular, how rowdy it is and how small the space is. Participant 2 went far enough to say that the space often increases her anxiety levels, and they do not feel they have enough room to breathe. The chart to the left is one I created, and it compares the weighted averages of tutor community diversity time and space in comparison to the weighted average of overall satisfaction. As you can see, community diversity and time did really well above even the overall satisfaction average. And on the other hand, we have space, which did more than relatively below. With that being said, it is easy to conclude, or one can conclude, that space can be a factor for why student experience is not as positive as it could be, which is why I recommend the IC increase the space in 3 ways. One would be by incorporating movable furniture. Steelcase organization or Steelcase Corporation did a research in which they concluded that mobility equals successful active learning space. My second recommendation would be with the help of HCDE, which recommends that painting your room white with an accent color of mellow yellow can help a room look larger than it really is. And my final recommendation would be for the IC to consider adding an additional floor to their already existing building. That concludes the findings I had for my research, but something I would like to further explore, or that could be explored by others, is academic spaces, specifically what encourages strangers to collaborate together. For tutors, how do they adapt their teaching style, and what's their preference? What is their go-to style? For students, it would be great to look at students that use other spaces within the IC. This would allow for a more diverse age group within the research. Since mine only dealt with students using the general math study space, I discovered that most of my participants were first and second year students. But it would be interesting to look at other spaces because I have noted on my own that these students tend to be third to fourth year students. And it could maybe allow insight on why students keep using the space even after their first year, and why students don't use the space after their first year. In conclusion, something that went really well was having been a former user of this space, I still had access to use the space, and I had readily available participants. On the one hand, something I would like to improve are my interview questions, and thinking more on my toes to create better follow-up questions when doing the interviews. Overall, I had a great experience doing research on something that's near and dear to me, such as the IC, and looking at how the IC has impacted students since me. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.